So here we are in the crew's berthing area. Now the Pampanito had a crew of 80 men, but to save you the time for counting, there's only 36 bunks here. So what they would do, especially in this room, as this crew was primarily split into thirds, 1/3 on duty, 1/3 eating, taking a break, having coffee, playing games, and another third sleeping. Still, you had a lot of guys that would have to do what's called hot bunking, or what they called back then hot bunking. And that is between 3 guys, you'd be sharing 2 different bunks. So if you were getting off duty and wanted to catch a few winks, odds are you'd have to shake someone out of a bunk. They would get out and you'd get in. And again, it's still about 95 degrees in here, so there's no promise that your bunk is gonna be dry and clean. It could be sweaty and a little used. 24 men sitting and eating, or the galley was open 24/7, never closed. The crew could get food anytime they needed. They also would be able to get coffee at any hour of the day. In our galley, you'd have at least 2 cooks and 1 baker all the time. You didn't have a lot of water being used for things like bathing or cleaning. Water was divided first for cooling the engines down, because the engines required fresh water to be cooled down. They couldn't use seawater. Second would be cooking. And third would be for the cooks to wash their hands, pretty much. Anything after that, not really not very important for water use, so they tended not to let the guys actually really shower. 80 men, 75 days, no showers was actually a very accurate thing. These submarines had the nickname of pig boats, and they said you could smell a submariner from 1.5 blocks away. The Pampanito was credited with sinking 6 Japanese ships and damaging an additional 4. Pampanito also took part in rescuing 73 British and Australian prisoners of war that were on their way to Japanese to work in prison camps as well as mines on the coast of Japan. Well, the Pampanito sailors helped to win the war by basically acting as a first line of defense in the Pacific to keep the Japanese at bay and as contained to the South Pacific as possible. Now, an interesting fact about what these sailors did during the war is the US Navy, of its total enlisted services, the submarine service was about 1.5%, but they ended up sinking around 55% of all the Japanese tonnage sunk. Well, the Pampanito, the surviving crew members number about 13, and we try to throw a crew reunion once a year, but it's getting more and more difficult as they do get older. I believe the youngest surviving crew member is about 86. So it's a little difficult for them to get out here sometimes. We had a crew reunion where all 13 showed up about 2 years ago in 2008, and we're hoping to host another one. And when these guys come out, it's all of a sudden they walk up to the pier as old men, and the second they see the submarine, they're 17, 18 years old again. They're, giddy. They get excited and want to just talk to people, want to explore the boat, keep bugging us to fire the engines off so they can inhale the diesel smell that they're addicted to. Basically, they get an opportunity to relive one of the most amazing times of their lives, they tell us, as well as honor the other crew members who are no longer with us.